All right, welcome back to the program. We'll get back to normal maybe next week. The updated that you need to know here. Anthony, let me ask you something before we get into this today. This Turning Point video, we can have that available?
Yeah, I have it ready.
All right. So it's Free for All Friday, right? And I'll take a few phone calls along the way. We've got Tim Young who's going to join me here a little bit later in the program. And we're going to talk more, but there is no suspect in custody yet. Remarkable to me because we have pictures, we have video, we have shoe imprints, we have enough evidence. But how far did he get? Right by I-15, as pointed out by the FBI. There's video of him coming, and you've probably seen this maybe. He's jumping off the back of the building after he kills Charlie Kirk. It's interesting, though. I don't remember seeing the rifle in his hand when he jumps down. I'll have to go back and look at that footage as it occurs to me. I just watched it. Look, it's been a lot, all right? Processing a lot, and the violence and the hatred toward Charlie Kirk. He wrote the book Right Wing Revolution, How to Beat the Woke and Save the West. He was silenced because he was successful. He was silenced because he was successful. And you know what? Maybe now is the time. Anthony, let's run this tribute put together by Turning Point USA to Charlie Kirk. Because if you don't know more about his story, maybe this will help fill in some of the blanks. Then we'll get to some of your phone calls. I'll talk about that coming up. Go ahead.
We're active in about 15 campuses, and we're growing very, very quickly. And keep in mind, this is not just a flash in the pan movement. We're going to become an institution to give them the power and the confidence to stand up and let their voice be heard. I started this organization when I was 18 years old. I decided not to go to college. I didn't get in my dream school, which was the United States Military Academy at West Point. I have this idea to galvanize and motivate the future youth of this country around a core set of ideas, not just political parties or politicians. And the ideas are really America's the greatest country in the history of the world. The Constitution is the greatest political document ever written, and free enterprise is the most assured way to lift people out of poverty and create prosperity for all. Those are the three big ideas. And I think that's something that can win. We as Christians are called to go into the public arena to correct error with truth. So I go to college campuses and there's a lot of error. We're all sinners. We all live in error. I'm far more interested in what God wants of me than what I want from God.
I have to say this without getting emotional, but I'm very proud of my husband. And I know many of you are too. You have worked so hard. And I know a lot of you have seen, obviously, his videos on TikTok and all the stuff he does on campus, but no one gets to see him from my angle except for myself and our children. And the sacrifices that he made this year, he's amazing. I'm very blessed.
And I would not have been able to do any of it without Erica. And that's the real truth. I'll tell you what. You are here as a grassroots response to the top-down revolution happening in this country. I want our Turning Point USA students to receive a round of applause. These are the freedom fighters of America.
The media said that Turning Point could never run a ground game. They weren't experienced. They didn't know Charlie, right?
This is the greatest generational realignment since Woodstock. This generation is the most conservative generation that we have seen in well over 50 years, and the numbers show it. What young people especially are screaming at is they say, give me a structure that I can live my life by. And especially with young men, more challenging of them, more saying, you know what, honestly, I'm not gonna talk down to you. Stop being a boy and become a man. You wanna learn what that means? Come to church and I'll tell you what it means to become a man. Because we have the greatest story ever told. What can I do to save the country? You answer that question every single day because you are doing the work to save this beautiful republic. You are doing something that is bigger than you.
If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
He believed in this country, in the greatness of this country. He believed in the foundational principles of this document that sits next to me every day, the Constitution. He believed in you, the American people. He believed in the principles of this great experiment. And God bless him for that. Free for All Friday is brought to you by Patriot Mobile. You have to partner with people that believe the same things that you believe. Patriot Mobile for me is one of those companies that believed in people like Charlie Kirk, and they power the hotline here. And after all the hateful things that I've got this whole list of sound bites here. Of these hateful things said on MSNBC and CNN, and I just can't bring myself to play them. I can't. For some reason, I think that stains the memory of Charlie Kirk. I think that stains the memory of Charlie Kirk. All right. 877-310. 9966. 877-310-9966. We'll take a few calls today. It's not going to be as open as it sometimes is. Keep it short. Keep it clean. And maybe even try to make it positive. We're going to start with Cleo, is in the great state of Ohio. Cleo, welcome to Free for All Friday.
Good morning, Steve. Yeah, I'm calling today. Basically to talk about Charlie. I feel bad that he got murdered. I bring a lot of his demise on CNN, MSNBC, all of the news media. They use the Constitution to say they got the right to make all these false allegations. I'm talking to my sister the other day. We black, and basically they use this race-baiting conversation to keep the race going because they don't have anybody to hold them accountable because the media is supposed to be a system to protect the public, to protect you as far as your Constitution. When they're not doing that, and they're doing like a third world country as far as going after people such as Donald Trump, Charlie Kirk, and anybody else that's not a part of their administration, it causes us as a nation to not be a nation because we don't have that buffer zone from the media. The media is supposed to be here to help the consumer get the best news possible. And when they're not doing that, they afford this hatred that's within our country right now.
Well, Cleo, I've got to hit a break here, and I agree with you.
Along.
I agree with you, Cleo. God bless you. God bless for seeing through what they've done. Time for us to unite as Americans, not divide. We'll take more phone calls in a moment. Cleo, well done. I'll be right back. Struggling. You know, so Anthony and I, we had a conversation in the break there, and he feels the same way I do. I want to expose these people for who they are and the filth of what they said on the air about, maybe it's one of Charlie Kirk's, supporters shooting off a gun in celebration. Luckily, that guy got fired from MSNBC, but there's all sorts of this filth out there. And I can't bring myself to play any of it for you. I don't want to. I don't want to give those people a platform. I'm going to cancel them for a couple of more days. I mean, I'll get to it. But I'm not doing that. I'm not giving them a platform. I'm giving America a platform because I feel like they shot the Constitution, like they tried to execute the First Amendment by killing a young man, a young father, a young husband who believes in America so much that he put himself out there and was murdered for it by some coward in the distance. Free for All Friday, 877 310 9966. Keep it short, keep it clean. Do your best to keep it positive. Don, you're next from Ohio. Don, how are you?
Good morning, Steve. Good morning.
Yes, sir. We got you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, good morning. Sorry about that. Thought I lost you. Just got off work, but yeah, I applaud you, Steve, for not giving them people a platform. That's awesome. They don't deserve one. But the reason I called is I can't believe they haven't caught this guy yet. And from the last thing I heard, they have no facial recognition, nothing from social media to match his face with.
I think that's right. I'm watching. I'm surprised too, Don. They haven't found the guy. We've seen still pictures. We've seen video. They've got him coming off this building. And it makes me wonder, why is he jumping off the building? How did he get up on the roof, and why is he coming off the backside? He scoped this out. Let me just say this. I do not believe this was a professional shooter at all, this idea, it's a professional shooter. No, it wasn't. And I appreciate the phone call, Don. Let me just answer this. It wasn't a professional shooter. It was some guy that got themselves a 30-06, the most common hunting rifle in America. 150 grain bullet. And I'm just going to give you the science. I don't know that it matters, but I'm going to give you the damn science. Right at 100 yards, figure that's the shot they're going to get. They're going to zero it at 100. 150 grain bullet coming out of a 30-06 at 200 yards, which is what's widely reported, drops 6 to 8 inches. This monster was trying to head shoot Charlie Kirk in front of 3,000 people. That's what he was trying to do. He missed. Hit the neck, and it was a fatal injury. But this was no professional. This was an amateur with average or below average shooting skills. I'm going to go to the state of Idaho now. Steve is on the line. Steve, how are you today?
Good morning. Your intro was excellent. The first 5 minutes there was just spot on. And I agree. Leave that filth off. I don't want to hear it. I fell back to something that I think everybody needs to know. This guy has risen to a Rush Limbaugh. Even better, fall back into your Bible. Read a few things. Genesis 9, verse 6. Proverbs 14:3. And finally, when you come to the end of all of it, Ezekiel 25:17. And don't ever forget it. That's all. I'm out of here.
Well done. What do you want to be remembered for? My faith. My vigorous defense of my faith. Randy is in Florida. Randy, welcome to Free for All Friday. What's on your mind?
Steve, hey, I know we're all hurting right now, but everybody's talking. What is the solution?
The solution.
Steve?
Yeah, the solution to me is everything we just heard Charlie say. It's faith in this country. It's faith in the young people of this country. It's faith in Christ. It's faith in the future. It's faith in young people. The most conservative, and we've talked about this for a long time on the program. These are the most conservative young people in my lifetime, maybe. Or maybe since my generation. What do we need to do? We need to come together and save this country. Defend free speech. Defend what's true. And what's true is these are the greatest documents ever created for government. And what's true is that free speech, this right here, is why Charlie Kirk was killed, because he said something that offended other people. The freedom of speech is the foundational principle of this country. Should never be taken away from us. We must defend this country. And I call on all the people from Turning Point USA, young people, old people, and everybody in between. It's time to rise up and embrace this country and its principles once again. I've got time to get to Sally in Louisiana. Sally, welcome to it. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very quickly, I just want to say it's obvious he touched people across the country. Is there any way we can show that? I don't know if it's ribbons on trees, I don't know if it's a sign in the yard, crosses, something to express how many people are touched, were touched, and will continue to be touched by Charlie Kirk.
Sally, it's a really great idea. Let's think about that. Guys, send me emails. SteveGruber.com. Take Sally's idea. Let's put it out there. Give me an idea. Is it a ribbon? Is it a medal? What is it? CK, Charlie Kirk. How do we remember CK today? Tell me. We've got Tim Young coming up in a few minutes here, but I'm going to take some more phone calls. 877-310-9966. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Support Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com. I'll be back. All right, I'm confused here. I am a bit confused. So I'm watching the footage here. Maybe he's carrying the rifle in inside his shirt. It's hard to see. It's not great footage, and it's on a screen behind the guy from the FBI talking about it. Maybe it's in his, must be in the shirt. Anyhow, they do not have the suspect in custody. That's what you need to know. The search continues. The reward, over $100,000 and growing. I thought they would have this guy by now. Free for All Friday. Maria's in Florida. Marie, what are your thoughts today?
The first thing, my heart's so heavy I can't take it. But the second thing, my mind's spinning, who could keep Turning Point continuing? And I think the one person that could really help is Elon. And I think we need to reach out to him because he's for freedom of speech, or he would have never bought Twitter. That's all I've got to say.
Marie, thank you. You know, I've never felt this way. Not for somebody who was not a relative. And I didn't know Charlie as well as some people. I knew him. Call him a friend, that's for sure. They shot my friend. But it just makes it feel like we're all a target for sitting out here and having a point of view. Joanne is in Pennsylvania. Joanne, bring us out of this, would you? What's up?
You know, my question is, after what happened to Trump in Butler County, why do they not have security with drones? I always question that. Drones would have probably saw that guy. My heart goes out to you, Steve, because, you know, we're all hurting, but the Ray family really lost a brother here.
I appreciate that, Joanne. I do. Thank you for the call. 877-310-9966. We'll get to some more of your calls. My friend Tim Young coming on. I believe he was out of the country when this all happened. I believe he was out of the country doing conservative things. He lives in Texas, you know, and you just wonder, from Texas to Michigan, where I am, to wherever. Are we all targets? Or are we going to stand up and say we're going to defend this country? That's what I'm doing, and I'll be right back. You know, I'm as surprised as a lot of you, and you may notice we're going basically without music here, because nothing makes sense to me. We're not doing some happy music. We're not doing some peppy music. I didn't do the top of the show the way I normally do. It just doesn't seem right. And you know, I told you here a bit ago, I've got all of these sound bites from MSNBC and CNN and all this hateful garbage that happened, you know, things that were said after Charlie had been shot. And I can't bring myself to play it. I won't give these people the platform. They don't deserve it. They're hateful. They're awful, and I will not give. I'm canceling them. All right. They shot my friend, and I feel like they shot the Constitution. I do. I feel like they've taken and shot the First Amendment of the United States Constitution because, look, Charlie stood for a few things, and the same things that I stand for. Free speech, freedom to worship, freedom to assemble, and that America's the greatest country on earth with the greatest financial system and the greatest people and the greatest ability to get things done, all of that. My next guest is an influencer, good friend of mine he's become, Tim Young. More than 1 million people follow him every day, and for good reason. He was, I believe, out of the country. Tim, welcome to the program. I believe you were out of the country when this all happened, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I was back the day before. I actually had just gotten out of a meeting when I heard about what happened with Charlie, and I'm with you. I've been watching your show all morning, and I don't think it's hit me as hard as it should have yet, and it'll hit me at random when I'm walking around one of these days here pretty soon. But he was a friend, and you don't grasp watching someone who you personally know get murdered on I mean, people sending me the video of it, and it's horrifying. And
horrifying.
It doesn't, there are levels of this that I can't process yet. That being one. The other is I'm getting texts from random people I haven't seen in 6 to 8 months saying, hey, do you have security? There are so many levels that peel back here that deal with folks like you and I and individuals. Because look, once the left, if they get a chance to take us out, they go after regular people too that they disagree with. I mean, this is.
Well, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
You didn't hear this part, of course, but the day that it happened, my 20-year-old daughter, who was thrilled to meet Charlie here a few weeks ago. We were in Washington, D.C., and we walked into one of the studios, Real America's Voice, and he's in there, and she was a fan to begin with, and he was so accommodating and nice, and that big smile, and he came out and took pictures. So she comes into the studio here with me and says, I think you need to retire. The reason being is what you just said. Am I a target? Are you a target? She wonders if her dad's going to be shot. It's a fair question. Because we exercise an opinion that some crazy son of a bitch doesn't like. I mean, really. I mean, I get and it breaks my heart that she even has to think that way. Right?
No, we're targets. I mean, you get death threats. I get death threats pretty regularly, especially when you touch the trans stuff. Those people are mentally ill. They're mentally ill. And you mention it. You talk about certain things in the aspects of that and how they shouldn't be transing kids and all these groomers and things in schools. And then all of a sudden your email blows up with death threats. It's common. You don't think about it. I'm sure. I mean, Charlie obviously didn't think about it because he continued his journey and his path and stood up for what was right. I'm going to do the same. You'll do the same. But when threats have become a part of our industry, threats are a part of what we do. You just kind of, you don't think that it's ever going to be followed through on, but you conceal carry where you wouldn't normally conceal carry. I think everyone should, by the way, but you protect yourself. You have a head on a swivel regularly, and it's scary, but it's not, because you're almost numb to the threats that you get at some point. And I'm sure Charlie got thousands.
Yeah, well, Anthony mentioned just before you came on, he said, because the lady called and talked about drones and how that could secure these buildings like in Butler, Pennsylvania and so forth. And Anthony pointed out, look, Charlie trusted his life with God. He put his hands in, I mean, his faith is remarkable, and his faith put him out there. He knew he was a target. He got death threats all the time. And finally somebody stood 200 yards back with a 30-06 and did the unthinkable. But I don't think he would change any of that, because the conversations that he had changed lives. And I said this yesterday, and I bet you agree with this. More people heard Charlie Kirk speak yesterday than they did on any day that he was alive, because people went and looked and listened and pulled up clips and found out what he was all about. Charlie Kirk touched more people in death than he did in life. It's heartbreaking. But he will be heard.
There are levels of this that, like, I'll say this, and it's a conversation that's been had outside of his just being heard. That video, that horrifying video, has gone everywhere, and people on the left are seeing it and making a decision.
You're
And they're seeing people laugh and celebrate the death of a father, and like a good guy.
Yeah.
And here we go, Steve. It's hitting me. And they have to decide, like, are you pro murder or not? How do you stand for that? How do you stand for that as a human being? I have never once. I hate people on the left that I disagree with at times, but I don't want harm to come to them. I want them, to learn, what's right in the world. But there's a side of the left that now has to wake up, realize their side murders people for what they believe in. The Trump thing, when Trump was shot, that was an assassination attempt that was blown off very quickly. And even the Harpies on The View said, oh, maybe he didn't get hit by the bullet, blah, blah, blah. They said a lot of things. This is undeniable. This man was murdered in cold blood, and the left needs to wake up and make a decision. And I honestly, as horrifying as that video is, I hope that those people who truly said that they hate him and hate what we stand for, I hope they see that video, and I hope they're touched and they're horrified by how far that rhetoric has taken things.
I've seen a number of videos. Ivy was showing them to me, and so was my daughter. I never name my kids here, by the way. If people haven't figured that out, I never use their names on the program for that very reason. Ivy is here with me, and anyhow, so many videos of people making that decision, saying, I don't want to be any part of that. I don't want to be any part of these people that are making fun of a young man who's been murdered, a father, a husband, 31 years old. They've made the decision, Tim, and they're leaving in droves, I believe.
And it's young people. I saw videos on TikTok. I've seen, kids like singing hymns in public and in like kind of the hood. I saw a video of a guy posting about that. I think that's incredible. Charlie was a good guy.
He was.
Like,
he was a good dude.
Here, I know everything about everybody. Yeah.
Hold on. We got to do this. We have to do this thing that you don't have to do, a commercial. So hold on. Because Charlie was a good guy. We're going to talk about that. Tim Young with me, by the way. You can find him all over the place. Just look him up. He's pretty much everywhere. I'll take a break. We'll get to more of your phone calls. I apologize. 877-310-9966. It's Free for All Friday. Remembering Charlie Kirk. You know, I've watched this video again. The guy jumping off the. Are they telling me that the rifle is in the shirt? I can't. The video it's not close enough for me to really evaluate. It's like on a screen behind the guy. Anyhow, Tim Young is still here with me. We're going to get back to your phone calls here in a minute, but you knew Charlie. He would do anything for anybody. You know, the first time I met him, I don't know, it's been a few years ago now. And somebody said, well, something about Charlie. And I said, I've never actually met him. Literally 5 minutes later, he sees me from 100 yards away. He beelines to tell me what a great job I do and how wonderful I am and how my show has done this and that. And I'm like, you're telling me this. You've got this thing you've created with 3,500 chapters around the country and, you know, thousands of members. But he's effusive and telling me all these wonderful things about me. And I'm thinking, what a guy. He was just remarkable the first time I met him. We became friends, and I would see him on occasion when I was in D.C. working or whatever it would be. You'd run into him or at Turning Point USA events. But you have the same stories. That's the thing. You mentioned in the break, you have dirt on everybody, just about.
Yeah.
Nothing on him. There's no dirt.
No, Charlie was one of the few actual good, honest Christian, stood up for all the values. At home, he was the same person at home as he was in front of the cameras, in front of the audiences. He lived the life that, like, you know where Charlie is right now. Like, there's no doubt that he is in heaven. Like, the guy is one of the best, kindest, God-fearing people I've seen in politics. And a lot of people talk about, I hate to pull back the curtain for your audience here, but a lot of folks who talk about God and put God first in politics or claim to are the worst people you'd ever meet. Charlie was not that. Charlie was absolutely, he lived the life that he preached, and we need more of him, and there just aren't. There aren't, and you know, you talk about, I think one of the earlier people said who should take over for Turning Point. I know that's a conversation. By the way, before we even get there, I have to give credit to the Turning Point staff for putting together a memorial video for their friend. I can't imagine
what's that
having to sit and pull clips.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, because they were all friends there. They're all close. Charlie he interacted with those people regularly. Like, they're all like they're family.
Yeah, they were. So here's the question that was asked earlier, and I've been wondering the same thing. You can't let Turning Point USA die with Charlie.
Yeah.
But there's nobody like Charlie. There's nobody that can sit there. I mean, his brain works so fast, and he could cover so many different topics. I mean, I've never met anybody who can name right off the top of their head every book of the Bible and who wrote it and when, for example. I mean, it was a remarkable mind. But who can step up? That cannot be lost here, because if that happens, they win. They cannot win, Tim.
There's a short list, and I don't want to name them. We can talk about this. I don't think now's the time to talk about it. But there's a guy that comes to mind right off the top of my head who I think who ran Young Americans for Liberty and has won states for Trump. And there's only a few. It's got to be a short list, and obviously Tyler is doing a great job. But it's like 2 or 3 people max that can take that position, and then the question is, do you want it? I mean, like, there's just so much here. Like, you know, Charlie was chosen by God. Whether or not, you know, he would have, I think he would have said that, with humility, and whoever takes that place puts themselves literally in the line of fire. And God bless them. And you know, there will never be another Charlie Kirk. And I can't believe, you know, I did a radio interview right after everything happened, and I can't believe I'm memorializing a dude who's number one of the nicest people I've ever met, but 14 years younger than me, you know, and it's just wild to me. It's wild where we are right now as a society in America.
18 years old, he started that thing, and he believed in it right from the beginning. I mean, we played that Turning Point clip. You saw that earlier, probably. About 4 minutes, and we're going to play it again today before the show's over, just because it's so good. And for people that don't know Charlie or don't know his background, it's really educational about where he came from and what he did and why he did it, because he believes in this country. He believes in God. He believes in the future. He believes in this document that sits on my desk every day, the Constitution. I'll give you the last word here, Tim. I know there's a lot to process because I'm still, I don't know where I am. I've had tears on this program. I've had tears with my family. I'm angry. All of it.
I think everyone should get louder about what they believe in. I think
Agreed.
everyone should get louder about their faith. I think everyone should get louder about family. I think that there was nothing that Charlie stood for that was bad. It was all good. It was everything that was great about America, loving our country, being a Christian nationalist. We're all Christian nationalists. You go to church, they loop us all in the same thing. I think what we do here now to honor his legacy is to do exactly what he wanted, which is what a lot of us do already, but to add some exclamation points to the end of it. Stand up for your faith, stand up for your country, stand up for the family, and be the best person you can be.
Amen. Tim Young, you can find him a variety of places. We'll be talking about this for a while. Tim, thank you for doing this. I know you're on jet lag, but I'm glad you're awake. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, well, it worked out very well. Thanks for having me.
All right, there you have it, everybody. Tim Young. I'll get back to your phone calls right after this. I appreciate the folks that have waited. I'll get to you. We're going to do it for the next 2 hours. We'll be taking phone calls all over the country. 877-310-9966. What are your thoughts? Where do we go from here? Can you believe that they gunned down a young man because he said something they didn't like or didn't agree with them politically? Left a widow and 2 orphan children, basically, because they didn't like what he had to say. God bless Charlie Kirk for having the courage to stand up in front of people, to take questions, to convince people that his arguments were better than theirs. God bless him for taking the chance to change people's minds. More phone calls after the break. It's the Steve Gruber Show. All right, let's dive back into it. 877-310-9966. Please support Patriot Mobile. If you're not a Patriot Mobile subscriber, please be one. PatriotMobile.com. Use the promo code Gruber. You'll get a free month. There are Patriots standing on the corner with us, which we greatly appreciate. All right, so let's have it. Martine is up from Georgia. Martine, thanks for waiting. What's on your mind?
Well, see, this is Martine. I don't know you remember me. I'm the one that's suing the government. I'll tell you, I've got one comment and one suggestion. My comment is there's a lot of inconsistencies with the videos that I see. This smells and reeks like Butler. There's a lot of things that I think this guy's a patsy. I think they're going to find him dead, and we're never going to find out the real truth. That's my comment. Now, my suggestion, how we remember Charlie Kirk. Martin Luther King was killed, and they gave him a day. I think we need to give Charlie Kirk a day so that we'll always remember him and what happened.
Martine, thank you very much. Really appreciate you jumping in. Mark, you're in Florida. What's on your mind in Florida, Mark? Mark, we got you?
Go to the next one.
All right. Frank is in Florida, too. Frank, how are you?
Good morning, Steve. And God bless you for what you do, and my condolences for your loss of obviously a very close friend of yours. Steve, I was thankful to the Lord this morning when I saw clips of our president at the Yankees game and gave him an opportunity of maybe an hour, 2 hours of respite, if you would, from this tragedy. And but the other thing, while I was on hold, I came up with the following thought: if it's the Lord's will, I'd wonder if, when the time is right, if Charlie's widow will be one to pick up the banner, and what Charlie successfully did with young men, she will be able to do with young women. And with that, get yourself some rest, my friend.
Thank you, Frank. Greatly appreciate it. Chrissy, Carrie, Cynthia, I'll get to all of you, plus the rest of you across the country. We do this every Friday. We take phone calls. It's poignant today. It's different because we're all hurting. So it's different today. But we'll continue the conversation in a moment here on the Steve Gruber Show. Don't go anywhere.
I'll refresh.
All right, back to it now on an unusual free-for-all Friday. See, none of the happy music seemed to make sense to me for the last couple of days. Doesn't make sense to me today. If you're just joining me, I had all of these things. You know, I do this. I pulled all this sound. And a lot of it was like from CNN or MSNBC or what. I refuse to play it now. I'm not playing that filth. Next week, maybe we'll take the gloves off. But I cannot bring myself to give those people who said hateful things about Charlie Kirk after he was shot, basically saying, oh, well, he said this and he said that. He brought it on himself, really. In America, a guy exercises his God-given right to free speech, and he deserves to be executed in front of 3,000 people? No, sir. Absolutely not. Let's go back to the phone lines. All right, so the Patriot Mobile Common Sense hotline is 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. Please support Patriot Mobile. It's an important partner, and they're here on this important day. So let's go to Chrissy in Ohio. She's been patient. Chrissy, how are you? Thank you for waiting.
Yeah, hi, Steve. You'll have to forgive my voice. It's a little bit hoarse. And thank you for allowing this type of interaction with you, and for people that loved and followed Charlie to have a release and a way to, express our sympathies. I met Charlie in 2014, and we were at in Columbus at a conference that was called the We the People Convention. And it was kind of after the Tea Parties, and everybody would kind of like get together in different states and, think of ways to try to bring our country together. And my booth was right across from Charlie's. And I was there because there's a monument in Plymouth, Massachusetts, I had never heard of before, called the National Monument to the Forefathers. I had never heard of it, and I was in Plymouth and looked at all the things that I could visit. And I thought, well, I'm going to see what this is. So I find this monument, which is a mile off of, I think it's about a mile off of the waterfront.
Right.
It's huge. And the largest part is faith, stands for faith, morality, law, education, and liberty. And I was just like pissed because I had never heard of this thing before. So I started to research. And through my research, I was able to obtain one of these little bronze replicas. And it was celebrating, the reason I was there in 2014, the 125th year of this monument being built.
And what's the monument called?
During the Civil War. It's called the National Monument to the Forefathers.
Really?
And so since then, I've been trying to raise awareness and support for this monument. My grandparents were
And did Charlie help you with that? I've got to move along a little bit here.
Well, I'm sorry. I know. Okay. Well, it said that it's made of faith, morality, law, education, and liberty, and it became a way to demonstrate the founding, creation, and sustaining of a national unity that was called into question during the Civil War. And the monument was designed to remind all citizens, both North and South, of their collective heritage. The aim was to give shape to the words of the great orators of the day and the cause of preserving national unity through the celebration of a shared heroic origin. And I was able to donate the replica to a museum in Dallas, Texas, called the American Museum, the American Journey Experience Museum. And maybe there is some way to honor Charlie.
Well, there's been, and I appreciate the call, Chrissy. I've got to leave it there because here's the thing. I agree with you. Charlie has to be honored. And there's been a number of members of Congress now that think that maybe There should be a statue of Charlie in the Capitol. Maybe the National Monument to the Forefathers is something that... I'd never heard of that. Have you? Remarkable story. Continue now. Carrie in Pennsylvania. Carrie, appreciate you waiting. Appreciate you all waiting. What's on your mind?
Hi, Steve. We're all broken, I guess, over Charlie, and I'm so sorry for your loss, all of our loss. Watching those videos, that was a man, they said. What if that wasn't a man? That was a very slight man, very thin man. Maybe it's not a man. Maybe it's a woman, and they're looking for a man.
Maybe you're right.
A conspiracy theory.
Would seem to me that the
saying.
technology we have today, you'd think that facial recognition, that they could pinpoint this thing, but so far nothing. Or this person is a long way away, and they do know who they're looking for, but they don't know where to look. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep praying they find him. I have a good feeling they will.
I'm
Thank
certain
you
they
for all
will.
you do, Steve. And hey, don't forget to get down here in Erie for some fishing in
I
the
won't.
fall.
Thank you,
We
Carrie.
got good
I
fishing
love
down
Erie,
here.
Pennsylvania, by the way. Thank you, Carrie.
Yeah, Steve, maybe you need to take a load off, maybe do some fishing at some point.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That perfect head of hair might start turning a little bit more gray after
Yeah, we
this.
got to be careful about that. People saying I'm coloring my hair. Anyhow, Cynthia is in Kansas. Cynthia, thank you for being here. Thank you for waiting.
Oh, thank you, Steve, and I'm sorry for your loss, and I'm sorry for the loss for the country.
That's what I'm
And I
sorry
just
about.
wanna
The
say
country
that-
lost somebody great. Go ahead.
That's exactly right. But just remember that Charlie went everywhere and sowed his seeds all across the United States and around the world. And Charlie will, with the good backing of the Lord, his harvest will come through. So we want to thank him for that. And he will be smiling when he sees his harvest come through, when everybody that he has touched steps up for him. And there's so many doing it already. Just wanted to let you know, always remember, you reap what you sow. And Charlie knew how to sow. So
He
thank
sure
God
did.
for this country that he did.
Thank you for the phone call. We'll get to Doug and Dan and Daniel and a whole bunch more. 877-310-9966. My friend Rob Sigg sent me this. Father, thank you that when I go through the dark valleys, seasons of struggle and pressure, that I have your promise of a coming feast. Thank you that my cup will overflow with blessings. I believe that your grace will bring me through to victory in Jesus. It's a dark place we're in, that's for sure. A difficult road for I've been processing this for 2 days. And again, it's hurt, it's anger, but it's resolute anger. And I agree with what Cynthia said. He planted seeds for freedom around this country. Let them grow. Let them produce fruit. I'll be back. While the elite All right, again, it's Free Speech, Free for All Friday, brought to you by Patriot Mobile. And look, I ask you to support Patriot Mobile because they're good partners, they're good patriots. They believed in the mission of people like Charlie Kirk, too. And we have to support those that support us. Patriot Mobile is one of those groups, patriotmobile.com. If you use the promo code Gruber, you'll save money because they'll give you the first month for free, and you should do that. All right, back to the phones. Doug is in Michigan. Doug, thank you for waiting. What's on your mind?
Thank you for taking my call. I think one of the things that we can do as a tribute to Charlie is pray, get involved, ask questions, and seek the truth. And along those lines, I've called Michigan State University, trying to get a hold of a dean there by the name of Brent Donaldson, who overrode his department's recommendation not to give Lisa Cook tenure. And apparently, it's my understanding that Brent Donaldson, Donnellan, overrode the department. And I just called and left a message politely asking, what was your reasoning? Why would you give this woman
Did you get an answer?
When the department refused? I have not received a return call.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect
on
one.
this.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect one.
No,
Yeah, probably not.
But
it's a good question worth asking. I got to jump, Doug. I appreciate you calling in. It is a good question because that person is in some real hot water now at the Fed. Should be. I'm going to continue on with the conversation about Charlie. Dan is in Michigan. Dan, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Steve. Hey, I just got a comment. I spent my whole career installing building management systems in commercial buildings, including schools, government buildings, including the Capitol in D.C., and had to gain roof access to these buildings.
Yeah.
Very seldom could you gain access to a roof where the door or the hatch wasn't locked and monitored by security.
That's what I was
asking.
asking.
Believe on a college campus that they would leave these doors open.
Well, here was my question.
This individual must have known it was open and he could get on the roof.
Try this question on for size, because here's what I don't understand. If they had access to the roof, this person, and they got to the roof, why did they have to jump off the building to get off the roof? And the jump was, it's got to be a good 8 or 10 feet down. They didn't climb up that way. They'd have been seen. Why did they jump off the roof? Why?
A lot of those roof doors, when you go out onto the roof, if you don't prop that door open and it shuts, it's locked.
I got you.
And maybe he couldn't get back down through there, or maybe he thought it was better that he wouldn't go down that way to avoid being seen, and it was easier for him to go off there and jump off that roof.
Maybe you're right.
But very seldom did I ever run across a door in a school or any building where you basically had to call security and let them know that you needed to get through the hatch, and they'd either come send somebody over to unlock that, or they could do it remotely, or they at least knew
especially
that
in this day and age,
there.
with the things that have happened in places like Michigan State and elsewhere, and you wouldn't have that unsecured. Dan, we got to look into that. I appreciate the phone call. I think you're exactly right. How did this person, whoever it turns out to be, get access to the roof in the first place? How do they get up there and get set up in the first place? That's a great question from Dan. Amy is also in Michigan. We got a Michigan trifecta. Amy, thanks for calling. What's on your mind?
Hi, Steve. Kind of nervous calling. I get to talk to Steve. Okay, what I'm thinking is I don't think this person's a guy. It's a woman. If you look at the legs, the shoulders, the way they run.
You're the second person to say that.
Woman.
You're the second person to say that. I mean,
100% woman.
Wow. Body type, body structure, the locomotion, the gait. Say that again.
He could have been in gymnastics as a kid, used to jumping.
Interesting.
That looks like a woman. That's all I wanted to say, and I hope to God they find him. I love Charlie Kirk, and I love you. But maybe they're looking for the wrong gender.
Wrong person,
maybe right.
Well, Amy,
if it's a woman.
You're the second person to say that, so we'll take that under advisement. I appreciate the call. Thank you. What do you guys think? You can send me an email, stevegruber.com. Just send me an email, your thoughts on that. And how do we celebrate? Todd sent me a note. He said, red ribbons to represent the blood of Christ and the blood of Charlie shed for this country. Red ribbons. Maybe that's it. Ronnie is in California. Ronnie, welcome back. What's on your mind?
I'll tell you what's going on, Steve. That guy, he jumped off that roof and hopped in the trunk of a Cadillac. He drove 3 blocks away and got in the trunk of a Crown Victoria. And they took him to an airport. He flew to South America, where he's hanging out at cartel-run beach and protected because our government did it. That's why they're not going to catch him. And then he's going to think he's all cool in South America, and they're going to pull a Jack Ruby like they did to Lee Harvey, and they're going to whack the dude and get rid of him, and you'll never see him again because our government did it. The other CIA, the people we got to get the heck out of our government, the same people that got Trump.
Well, Ronnie, I appreciate the phone call. We're up against a break. Appreciate it, my friend. I do. I think that we'll see this person. Although the video, look, here's what bothers me about the video. Where's the rifle? And the video's not good, and it's not up close, and it's not of good quality, of course. They never are when they need to be. Those videos are never of high quality when you need them to be. Carla, Greg, and more after the break. Free for All Friday. All right, there is a guy that there is a possible suspect. Now, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. A guy that got in a screaming match with Charlie at one of these Turning Point USA events. All right, we're going to go back to the phones as we work our way through this. Carla is in Wisconsin. Carla, thank you for waiting. What's on your mind?
Hi, Steve. Thanks so much for doing what you do. I think that you're a great platform. And it's safe for us to call you. And maybe you should have this line open more often because it's such a great platform for us to talk to someone that understands.
Maybe you're right.
Thank you for that. I do appreciate that so much. I think I just have 2 really quick things, Steve. The first one is if you look up 910 in the angel numbers, it's very significant, and I think that day should be set aside for Charlie. I never cried so much for anybody, and I never met him, but I cried so hard. The other night I was out to dinner with my husband, and there were 4 young gentlemen behind us talking about Charlie in a derogatory way, and I stood up for Charlie, and I said, you guys cannot celebrate the death of anybody. And I shut these young men down, and I never felt better, and I felt the Spirit come through me to stand up and say my words. And I wasn't angry or mad at them. I wanted to just tell them it was wrong. And I think that people can do it in a very dignified, mutually respectful way to start talking to these people so they quit being so angry. We just
And
need
ignorant.
to stand up to them.
And ignorant.
And just say, yeah, and I don't think that they just don't have the leadership that they need. And I think Charlie and you and all the other people on your network is just don't let this stop you, please. This is like we need to go full force 100% harder,
Carla,
faster.
God bless you.
Everybody needs to pull it. Thank you. You too. We really, and I love you and your wife and your daughters. I'm so glad you had a chance to know Charlie like you did.
Thank you, Carla. All right, we'll take a break. I'm going to come back. Another friend of Charlie's going to join me. I'll still go to Greg, Mark, Claude, Jeff. Don't worry. We'll get to all of you. Free for All Friday. Back at it here on a Free for All Friday. I'll get back to your phone calls. Don't worry, I'll get to all of you. Greg, Mark, Claude, Jeff. Don't worry, I'll get to all of you. And more. 877-310-9966. It's the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Please support these people that support us, and Patriot Mobile being a great partner and a great friend. PatriotMobile.com. Check it. If you use the promo code Gruber, you'll save some money. I don't care much about that today, but it's an important thing that we have the support of the people that make it possible to be here every day. So I say that. Please support Patriot Mobile. My next guest was on the program earlier this week because we were celebrating an end of a court case because the Attorney General of the state of Michigan had gone after her and 14 others and accused them of all sorts of felonies for being a false elector. Michawn Maddock is back with me today, not because of that, but because she was friends with Charlie Kirk, as I was. And she joins me now. Michawn, nice to have you back on the program. It went from being a pretty good week to a pretty lousy week.
Oh my gosh. I mean, devastation in a moment. I think a lot like 9/11. I just happened to be with all three of my adult children when this happened, which, I mean, that, you know, two of my oldest kids are married with young children. My youngest is very busy and 25 years old. And just out of chance, we were all together at my son's home with my grandchildren. And I said to them a few hours later, because we were all just like everybody else.
Well, that's unfortunate. See if you can reconnect with her. We'll see what happens. A little bit of a challenge. You know, that's what happens. Live broadcast, it happens. Let's see, give him a moment there. Anthony, the master troubleshooter, will put her back on the line. Unfortunately, sometimes that happens. Anthony, let me know when she's back. How about I take a phone call in the interim while he reconnects? Greg is in Ohio. Greg, how are you?
Good morning, Steve. You got me?
I do. What's on your mind?
Okay, hey, listen, I'm 70 years old. I have 3 grandchildren, 2 in their 20s, youngest 19. They basically connected me with Charlie Kirk. My TV went out, and I got this new TV. I'm new to all these podcasts, but I watch your show constantly now. And I think some things that...
Well, then.
That one was my fault.
Oh, you hit him?
Yes.
All right. We're going to get Greg back on. Greg, I apologize. A couple of technical issues here. That one was on Anthony, he said. He hit the button wrong, and I apologize. Live broadcast, that can happen. Still working on Michawn, right?
Yes.
We got lots of time. There's nobody here between now. So let's see if we can get Greg back. Meanwhile, don't touch...
I have
What's
Michawn
that?
right now.
You do? All right. Michawn's back. Here we go again. All right. So pick up the story.
I hate technology. I was with my kids. I was with my kids when we found out, and my youngest daughter said, "Mom, don't open Twitter." I mean, I admit I live on X, so I'm, but I was with my grandkids, and she said, "Don't open it." And I didn't realize, but she had been silent over in her chair for like 5 minutes, and she unfortunately watched everything. And, the world has changed in what we see. It's just stunning. And, especially after just the day before watching the live murder of the young girl on the train. And I feel horrible for what she watched. And I've been very careful to not see it. I don't want to see it. It's
no, you don't want to see it. No, it haunts me. A friend of mine, military veteran, said he saw it. He said it has him completely sideways because of things that he's been through in the military, and he said he'll be in therapy for months from having to see that. He tried to not see the video either, but it was everywhere, and boom, it popped up, and he saw it, and that was that. Yep. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about Charlie. Charlie planted the seed of freedom and the idea of proud Christianity all over this country. 3,500 chapters of Turning Point USA. He started a movement that resulted in cultivating young conservatives, more conservative than anybody in decades, right? This group is more conservative than anybody in decades.
Young people, think of the people that were in that audience, but he has impacted so many lives. And I read Stephen Miller yesterday. I don't know if you follow him, one of Trump's most loyal advisors, and his words yesterday were chilling. And it was about an ideology that is growing, and we can't ignore it. We can no longer ignore the fact that there are people who want to take everything that is good, everything that represents family and wholesomeness and nature, and they instead want to replace it with something twist and warped. And we have to stop that. We have to pick up the mantle that Charlie just laid down, and we have to finish his work. It's what he would want us to do. And what you think of, he was only 31 years old. He accomplished more in his short lifetime than so many of us older would inspire to do. And I feel like millions of Charlie Kirks were created, and we need to help those of us that are older. We need to help nurture them, and we need to continue his work.
I agree with that. I think there are millions of Charlie Kirks now, millions, and his work does have to continue. Turning Point USA can't stop because of this. We agree on that, Michawn.
But it's also so much like President Trump. People say when President Trump's life was.
We'll get back to that. All right, we'll call that good for today. Seem to have some issues there. Here's what we're going to do, though. We're going to line up Mark, Claude, Jeff, David, and we're going to continue with the conversation here. And I'm going to play that Turning Point USA tribute again. Probably have time to do that in a few minutes here. I just think that we should. Maybe once every hour. It is so remarkable about Charlie Kirk. And Michawn's right, and we've talked about that. It cannot stop here. The work of Turning Point USA must continue. The seeds planted by Charlie Kirk must continue. I'm going to go read the Stephen Miller piece that she recommended. But make no mistake, we're targets. We're targets, but we cannot back down. We can't. We absolutely cannot. Because if we do, they win. And we cannot allow that, my friends. We cannot allow that. We must persist and carry on. I'll take a break and be right back. It's Free for All Friday.
Greg in Ohio, he is still there. He didn't get a chance to finish.
All right, we're going to pick back up. We were able to reconnect with Greg, who was inadvertently cut short in his comments. Greg, welcome back. Sorry about that. This happens from time to time. It's live broadcast. So pick up wherever you want.
No apologies necessary.
All right.
Oh, okay. You got me now? You got me right now?
Clean as a whistle.
Okay, yeah, I have. I'm 70 years old. I have 3 grandchildren, 2 in the 20s, 1 19. That's basically how I got introduced to Charlie Kirk. I watched him on cable channel throughout the Trump campaign, and I fell in love with the guy. What I wanted to say about the spiritual battle is there's only 2 sides to this, and I told my son this when I used to witness to him about Jesus. There's only one way out of this mess, and that's Jesus. There's no back door. There's no secret escape route. And this spiritual battle, what I've heard about a lot of your guests is the seed planting. And the Bible says the enemy came to kill, steal, and destroy. God put these people in position. He put Trump, any Christian can see this. They were put there for a reason. And for some reason, Charlie Kirk got called home. I'm not saying God did this.
I understand.
We got cut short. But the fact of the matter is everybody's concerned about somebody stepping up. God puts these people in position, and believe me, Charlie Kirk's ministry will not go away.
Greg, that's a really great message. That is a really great message, Greg, and I really appreciate you bringing that this morning. That somebody will be, I'll use the word anointed. Not sure that's the right word, but I think it's close enough. That somebody will step forward to shepherd Turning Point USA to cultivate those seeds that have been planted by Charlie Kirk. I agree with you on that, Greg. And so I really appreciate you taking the time, being patient with us here a little bit today. Thank you. I think that's a great message. Let's continue now. Mark is in Florida on the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Mark, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Steve, for having me on the show. I just wanted to ask you, your studio, the country, the world to pray for young girl still in the hospital. Her name is Sophia Forchus. She was one of the ones that was gunned down through the stained glass windows of the Catholic Church in Minneapolis. And she has a bullet in her brain still. They couldn't remove it. Oh, stop it, Charlie. Sorry, my dog's.
I know, I can hear the dog. No,
Anyway,
Sophia. We need to pray for Sophia. I heard that. The dog is excited. Okay, we're going to leave it there. The dog's killing me, Mark. But can we say a prayer for Sophia? Yes. Yes, we can. One of the girls shot through the stained glass. Terrible story out of Ascension School there in Minneapolis. Understood. Claude is in Wyoming. He's been patient as well. Claude, how are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry for your loss for Charlie.
Yeah.
I think the FBI is missing something. I think is a trans woman posing as a guy. And I've just been watching the videos over and over of this person running across the roof and coming up and down the steps, jumping over the side of the building, running across the ground. It's just the actions just looks to me to be feminine.
Yeah,
But,
you're one of a lot of
this
people saying that.
not-
A lot of people calling in here, Claude, kind of think the same thing. Kind of looking at it and saying,
Well, listen to this. Then they say, the FBI say that this person had written
Yes.
trans things on the rounds.
yes.
So I think they're looking in the wrong direction. They're looking for a guy and this a girl.
Well, we don't know what they're looking
I
at.
think that's what
To
they're
be
gonna
fair,
find.
Claude, we're not sure what they're looking at.
Yeah.
Anyhow, greatly appreciate the call. But a lot of people looking at that video feel the same way. Feeling the same way. That there is something off about the video. I also am confused as to where is the rifle in the video? Is it in that shirt? The video is, look, it's just on the screen. Why don't we have we need a clean feed of that video so we can look at it. It'd be helpful.
So, Steve, I noticed like in that CCTV footage of them like jumping down the roof, it looked like the person had a bag.
Something.
And so I'm curious if possibly this weapon could have been broken down.
You know, the people, and I've got to look this up, but somebody said it was a Mauser 30-06. Mauser, from what I understand reading here online, can't be broken down that way. And this person is running across the roof moments after the shooting. They didn't take time to break the rifle down, I don't think. I don't know. I guess we'll know more. Because we saw a picture of the rifle. I don't know if that was real either. You know, the problem with the internet is you get a lot of good information, you get a lot of garbage too. Let me get to Calvin in South Carolina. Calvin?
Oh, Jeff. Jeff is next.
I'm sorry, Jeff in Florida. Jeff, thank you, Jeff.
Hi, Steve. You know, I'm a big fan of yours, but when I see something that happens on the other side, they change their profile picture and they put up the Palestinian flag or George Floyd or whatever. I think that we should put up the Turning Point USA as our profile picture, and I'll be creating a meme later today that I'm going to put on my social media that says, "I disagree with depravity. I'm Charlie too."
Yeah, we're all Charlie today. I agree with that. Would you make sure you send that to me? Send that over. Put it up on my X account or wherever you find me, all right? Appreciate that. It's tough duty. Is it hurt? Is it anger? Is it hope? Some of it. There's got to be hope in there. There's got to be. Charlie touched too many lives, changed too many minds. There's got to be hope there for the seeds that were planted. We'll get to Calvin and Dave after the break. It's Free for All Friday on the Steve Gruber Show. All right, a couple more phone calls. By the way, the phone number is 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. Glad to have you here with us today. As we remember the great Charlie Kirk, gunned down by some coward in the distance. Somebody who couldn't debate him. You can't silence his ideas. His ideas are too big. Let's go to Calvin in South Carolina. Calvin, welcome to the program. Thank you for waiting.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. The only thing I can get out of this is the peace, the fact that when I die, I'm going to be with Charlie. I'm going to be living next to Charlie, and I'm not going to be living next to any of these radical leftists.
Well, they've still got time. They've still got time too, Calvin. Maybe we should pray for their salvation as well. Dave is in Michigan. Dave, your thoughts?
Yes. How you doing, Steve?
Good.
Okay. You mentioned earlier about maybe someone had an argument with Charlie at one of these events. I have seen the video online. I don't know if it's appropriate to tell you which one it is, but all the features, like his sideburns, his black wavy hair, his stance, his narrow, thin mouth, are all pretty evident. And this young man is very disturbing and belligerent to Charlie. I don't know if I should tell you the video.
No, I've seen
right
the
now
videos.
or later. Or
I think we've all. I mean, the videos are floating around out there. I've got.
You know who I'm talking about, then?
I do. There's names. There's two people they've got floating around. But again, it's speculation. I'm gonna let the FBI do its job. I'm gonna let the FBI. I don't think this. I think this was a fairly rookie shooter based on what I've said earlier, and I'll tell you about that again at the top of the program. Dave, thank you for calling in. I'm up against a break here. But come back after the top of the hour. I'll tell you why I think this is not some professional shooter. I think this is somebody who had average or below average shooting skills because of the way this all came together. It's Free for All Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile. I'll be back after this. Free speech, free for all Friday. And I've got a question to start this hour as we continue our conversation about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Why does the left have such a problem with a moment of silence? A moment of silence was asked for on the floor of the House of Representatives after it was learned that Charlie had died a couple of days ago. And the Democrats, a bunch of them began screaming no. In the EU Parliament yesterday, a guy rose and asked for a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. He was shouted down and told no. The New York Yankees put up Charlie on the Jumbotron and had a moment of silence last night. And people on the left, on the social media platforms, are ripping on him. The Green Bay Packers did it at Lambeau Field last night. And God bless them for it. And God bless the Yankees. It's the only time you'll ever hear me say that. But the people, a moment of silence, a bit of humanity is too much to ask. That's why I said Green Bay. And God bless Green Bay. Ivy's working in the studio, of course. Anthony, let's play that tribute. Let's play that tribute. Turning Point USA, and we talked about this earlier with Tim Young. How hard was it for the people at Turning Point USA that saw Charlie every single day, knew who he was, watched him and helped him build this great movement, and know that he had been cut down by an assassin's bullet to put together this video? For anybody who doesn't know Charlie or wasn't familiar with him, listen to this.
We're active in about 15 campuses, and we're growing very, very quickly. And keep in mind, this is not just a flash in the pan movement. We're going to become an institution to give them the power and the confidence to stand up and let their voice be heard.
I started this organization when I was 18 years old. I decided not to go to college. I didn't get in my dream school, which was the United States Military Academy at West Point. I have this idea to galvanize and motivate the future youth of this country around a core set of ideas, not just political parties or politicians. And the ideas are really America's the greatest country in the history of the world. The Constitution is the greatest political document ever written, and free enterprise is the most assured way to lift people out of poverty and create prosperity for all. Those are the three big ideas. And I think that's something that can win.
We as Christians are called to go into the public arena to correct error with truth. So I go to college campuses and there's a lot of error. We're all sinners. We all live in error. I'm far more interested in what God wants of me than what I want from God.
I have to say this without getting emotional, but I'm very proud of my husband. And I know many of you are too. You have worked so hard. And I know a lot of you have seen, obviously, his videos on TikTok and all the stuff he does on campus, but no one gets to see him from my angle except for myself and our children. And the sacrifices that he made this year, he's amazing. I'm very blessed.
And I would not have been able to do any of it without Erica. And that's the real truth. I'll tell you what. You are here as a grassroots response to the top-down revolution happening in this country. I want our Turning Point USA students to receive a round of applause. These are the freedom fighters of America.
The media said that Turning Point could never run a ground game. They weren't experienced. They didn't know Charlie, right?
This is the greatest generational realignment since Woodstock. This generation is the most conservative generation that we have seen in well over 50 years, and the numbers show it. What young people especially are screaming at is they say, give me a structure that I can live my life by. And especially with young men, more challenging of them, more saying, you know what, honestly, I'm not gonna talk down to you. Stop being a boy and become a man. You want to learn what that means? Come to church and I'll tell you what it means to become a man. Because we have the greatest story ever told. What can I do to save the country? You answer that question every single day because you are doing the work to save this beautiful republic. You are doing something that is bigger than you.
If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
What a remarkable testament to Charlie Kirk. Here's something I see posted online, and then I'm going to take a phone call here. By the way, 877-310-9966. If you have cried, felt a strange feeling, or weird burden for Charlie, where your heart aches for a man you've never met, it's because you are part of the body of Christ. I think that's moving to me. Kristen is on the line from Michigan this morning. Kristen, welcome to the program. Kristen, are you there?
Hello?
Yes. How are you?
Hi, Steve.
Hi. What's on your mind?
I'm good. How are you? First, I'm so sorry for your loss. I feel the same way about Charlie. He was just a great man, but sorry. I just want to say a thing that I really love for him is live like Charlie. Live like Charlie. What people will think about that.
Be like Charlie. That's not bad. Be like Charlie. Faith, family, America. It's a pretty good message, Kristen. I got to give you that. Pretty solid message. Faith, family, America. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense hotline is 877-310-9966. And I ask you to do me a favor. Support Patriot Mobile and all the companies you hear me talk about from time to time in the program, because they make it possible for me to be here with you every day. So please take a moment, go to patriotmobile.com. Use the promo code Gruber. If you're not a Patriot Mobile customer, I say, why aren't you? It's an American company that believes in the same things that Charlie believed in: faith, freedom. This thing called the Constitution that sits on my desk every day so I can refer to it. This thing's all beat up. It's all beat up because people say, oh, that's not Constitution. Most people don't know what's in the Constitution. They should read it. And when I come back, Godwin's Law, something my daughter introduced me to. I had never heard of this before. Have you heard of Godwin's Law, Anthony?
I don't believe so.
Remarkable. It's been around since the 1980s. I'm going to tell you about that when I come back. I've got Doolin around the corner, too. You don't want to miss that. But Godwin's Law, I'll tell you all about it. Anthony, you're going to learn something I learned yesterday. How I didn't know this is beyond me. It's the Steve Gruber Show. All right, back to it here. Charlie Kirk, remembering a guy so embedded in the belief of America and faith that he wouldn't back down and he would appear in front of everybody, and he paid for that courage with his life. Now, we've just been breaking news in the last few moments. President Trump confirming a suspect in custody following the Charlie Kirk assassination on Wednesday. Anthony, did you get the video?
Yes. Do you want me to play it?
Yeah, just go ahead and play it.
You were at the 9/11 memorial. We were all watching that.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance was supposed to be with you. He went out to be with Charlie Kirk's family and to get the body back to his hometown in Arizona. And you said you were going to award him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which was very nice of you. Any updates on this suspect?
Yeah. Can I always say, I think, just to protect us all, and so Fox doesn't get sued, and we all don't get sued, and everything else. But I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody. Right? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job. You know, getting somebody that you start off with absolutely nothing. And we started off with a clip that made him look like an ant that was almost useless. We just saw there was somebody up there.
All right.
And so much work has been done over the last.
There you have it. I think we have the suspect with a high degree of certainty. A couple of qualifiers on there in the event that it turns out this would be the third person, I believe, taken into custody. The first two questioned, and we thought they were suspects. They were not. Steve Doolin is joining me, professor, of course. Usually we have a lot of fun. Not a fun week for me, Doolin. I'll just be honest.
No, it's not a lighthearted moment. The thing that I've noticed is I didn't realize how many people were unaware that we've got literal Maoists educating children in this country. You know, I've been aware of it for some time, and it's Mao's version of Marxism that has taken hold, which you know, Mao originated the struggle sessions, the forced confessions, essentially, and the conflict is inherent, and you know, Stalin purged and killed a lot of people with his brand of Marxism. Marx has been taught as a respected sociology figure for generations in sociology departments, but it's metastasized and taken hold of leaders in the teachers' unions. It's taken hold of curriculum.
Let's be crystal clear about this. Chairman Mao was a monster who killed tens of millions of his own people. The Great Leap Forward, the Cultural Revolution. The Great Leap Forward was nothing more than a leap into the grave for tens of millions of Chinese. And Charlie Kirk was one of those people that stood against that, boldly against that. And he paid for it with his life, didn't he?
He paid for it with his life, and he continues to serve the cause of the Constitution and of Americanism from the grave already still by drawing some of these people out of the woodwork. They feel comfortable enough in the bubble that they've established online over the past decade or so, however long it's been, quite a while, that they can come out and celebrate and make statements that reveal themselves to be virulent communists. It's not, we want to be, we're just Democrats and we want to have a little more of a safety net. This is the root of it. And these folks, a lot of them, as you've been noticing, I'm sure, they're already getting fired or relieved of responsibilities in various positions. So his death has caused some of these people to come out into the light and be spotted. But I promise you there are many more who are too smart to speak out publicly about it. But this is something that has needed to be confronted for quite a while, which is you have people who are part of the same international movement as Mao and Pol Pot teaching American children in K-12 and in universities. They're out there. They're out there still. It's going to take a long time to turn this ship around, if it's still possible. So, you know, even in death, he's still serving the cause of liberty and free speech.
In fact, I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again today. More people heard Charlie Kirk's voice and message yesterday than at any day in his life.
Well, that's true. You know, there's a lot more sharing of his videos because there were still a lot of people who'd never heard of him. But it also points out that he was international too. He wasn't just nationwide, he was worldwide.
Correct.
Because there are folks around the world mourning him.
Correct. Yet, somehow the left in this country can't even allow for a moment of silence. Not in Congress, where they shouted it down. Not in the EU Parliament, where they shouted it down. Where's their humanity? And they're complaining because the New York Yankees held a moment of silence, or the Green Bay Packers last night a moment of silence. There's a lack of humanity there, Doolin. You got 20 seconds for the last word.
Well, that's certainly true. And that's certainly true of Marxism in all its various forms and flavors. There is a lack of humanity because Marx, Das Kapital, and everything that's followed in the various branches are fundamentally at war with human nature. So they have to be anti-human, anti-humane. Leventri Beria didn't arise out of nothing. He was a sociopath who took advantage of this tool that Marx gave him.
Time to put that tool down. Steve Doolin, appreciate you taking the time. We'll talk again Friday. Thanks.
Glad to be here, Gruber.
All right. We'll be right back. All right, if you're just joining us, we have breaking news coming to us from President Trump saying that with a high degree of certainty, there is a suspect in custody for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He said it on Fox News just a few moments ago. We played it a moment ago. I'll play it for you again now. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yesterday, you were at the 9/11 memorial. We were all watching that. Yeah. J.D. Vance was supposed to be with you. He went out to be with Charlie Kirk's family and to get the body back to his hometown in Arizona. And you said you were going to award him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which was very nice of you. Any updates on this suspect?
Yeah. Can I always say, I think, just to protect us all, and so Fox doesn't get sued, and we all don't get sued, and everything else. But I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody, right? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job. You know, getting somebody that you start off with absolutely nothing. And we started off with a clip that made him look like an ant that was almost useless. We just saw there was somebody up there. And so much work has been done over the last 2.5 days. You know, it's amazing, actually, when you start off with that and then all of a sudden you get lucky or talent or whatever it is. But yeah, I think we're in great shape. Mr. President. And he's in custody.
There you have it. in custody. With a high degree of certainty, we think so.
I sure hope it. I hope so.
Yeah, I hope that they're right. And so on the left, first response from one of the big left influencers, he's acting like it's an effing game show. Trump announcing that there's a suspect. They're just shameless. It's just shameless. Piers Morgan writes, I'm so shocked by the huge quantity of social media posts and clips of woke left fanatics gleefully celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. It's so brazen, so dehumanized, so disgusting. What the F is wrong with these people? Elon Musk is right. Wokeism is an insidious virus. We'll take a break. Piers Morgan is right. And you're right for being here. We'll be right back. All right. Breaking news is that the president says with a high degree of certainty they have a suspect in custody for the assassination of Charlie Kirk 2 days ago. We hope that this high degree of certainty proves to be true. They say they've got him. There was some speculation from callers today that maybe the shooter was a woman. I don't have a name. I don't have any more details, but they have a Kirk suspect in custody. He said it on Fox News this morning. Joining me now is State Representative Jerry Neyer from Shepherd, Michigan. Jerry, thanks for being here.
Good to see you again.
You know, it's been it was a really great week when I saw that the 15 electors, farmers and teachers and retirees, were excused by the judge and basically told Dana Nessel, you've done a terrible thing here. And then it all came crashing down with an assassin's bullet killing a 31-year-old man for being an American. That's really what he was killed for standing up for God and country and family and things that he believed in, and talking to 3,000 college kids in Utah, murdered in front of all of them. It's strange place I find myself today, Jerry. What are your thoughts?
Very difficult situation. It's hard to believe that people get themselves worked up over just having a discussing the topics. When you don't want to when you don't want to listen to somebody there, and you're so set in your ways there, I just can't put myself in that position there. I've learned over the years you got to respect people's opinions. Doesn't mean you have to endorse them or support them, but you certainly don't have to get up and literally up in arms over it there and take violent action over just words.
Yeah. What do you think the legacy of Charlie Kirk will be? Obviously, he has, I think, 3,500 chapters of Turning Point USA. Young people in America more conservative now than they've ever been. And I have seen this online. While some people, and I use the term people loosely in this regard, celebrated Charlie's assassination, his murder, but others that were either in the middle or even Democrats saw this, and they were so repulsed by it, they're leaving in droves because they're so repulsed by people celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. I think Charlie is bigger in death than he was in life, if you can believe that. Your thoughts?
I hope it serves as a motivation for people on both sides or all over there to take the time to actually sit down and listen to what people are saying, as opposed to just being so hard-lined in your position and not wanting to discuss it or compromise. We're going into budget discussions there, and we're getting media that's feeding off and misinformation, and we're working in the legislature behind the scenes. They're trying to come to a real compromise, but we keep on hearing things every day of we're cutting this or we're throwing out that, and it's half-truths. People get worked up instead of listening to what we're actually saying and telling our constituents. They're going with the headlines and that, or whatever's posted on social media, and that's very misleading. So people need to take a breath, slow down, listen to what's actually being said, and just be willing to talk to each other about it, not take this position that we're so hardlined and we're not human. We're very concerned about the welfare of the people that we represent, and we're not going to do anything that we will intentionally or will harm our supporters and our people in the long haul.
You know, that's what he was willing to go to. He was just, and in fact, we saw, I think it was in April, Ivy and I went and saw and spent time with Charlie. I mean, I knew him. We spent time with him at Michigan State during one of these events back in April, I believe it was. And he would take questions from anybody. People that disagreed with him vehemently, hated him really. And obviously, he was somebody that faced death threats every day. And some coward stood back at 200 yards and murdered him. It's remarkable that he would talk to anybody, but people that couldn't responded with violence. That's the problem, isn't it, Jerry?
Yeah, well, give credit to those people who are willing to come out and at least talk to him. Those are the people that are willing to listen and hear. It's those other people that are so vehement that they can't confront them or at least ask questions that are the issue. And we're, you know, my goal, and I think all of our representatives' goal is to work through the issues and not be so hard set in our ways. We just can't. A democracy can't survive with people not willing to compromise. And democracies are difficult because you are willing to listen to both sides. And if we stop listening and stop working with our opponents, then that's when our democracy fails. And that's what the shooter was attempting to do, was make our democracy fail.
And instead, what I think this person did is create 1 million Charlie Kirks. Create 1 million Charlie Kirks. What do you think?
Yeah, I think people that were sitting on the fence line will make more of an effort to reach across and to work with each other now. They'll start seeing what Charlie did and inspiring people to work with each other. So if there's a bright spot in it, I think that's it. This will get people off and center, willing to stand up, willing to work to compromise or to come up with a livable environment for everybody, not just for one group.
Yeah. Jerry, I appreciate you being here. It's been a strange couple of days around here, that's for sure. But I appreciate you taking time to be here. And you're right. More talking, less violence. Jerry, thank you.
Let's hope that this will result in that. This will be the wake-up call to get everybody to be more reasonable.
Let's hope. Jerry Neyer from Shepherd. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to wrap up this week with Ivy here in a moment. And finish these thoughts. Watching that we have a suspect. We'll play that for you again. President Trump says they have a suspect in custody. He's been on Fox News for the last 20 minutes or more. Says they're with a high degree of high degree of certainty. They have the suspect in custody. More after the break. You know, I watched the video that Turning Point USA put together, and Tim Young pointed out when he was on earlier how daunting of a task was that for the people that work with Charlie Kirk every day. Moments ago, President Trump announced that they have a suspect with a high degree of certainty in custody. Ivy was watching a good part of the conversation. It's on Fox. In fact, he's still on Fox News. We've got it on one of the monitors over here. Ivy, good morning to you. Let's look at the news for a moment here. You were saying that you think he may have been turned in by some friends, but...
Yeah, based on what I heard in the conversation there with him on Fox and Friends, that they do have a suspect in custody, and that allegedly his friends turned him in. There is going to be a press conference here, I believe, in the next hour
so maybe
or
this
two.
is how this works. Because Mr. Trump said someone close to the alleged killer, that'd be a friend, went to the father. I assume that's the father of the killer, who in turn went to a U.S. Marshal. And the father convinced the son to turn himself in. Based on what I'm hearing, he said the father and son drove to the police headquarters, and he's there now. I don't know which police headquarters. I don't know what.
Right, and we don't even actually know if this is exactly accurate.
Right, and because Trump did say this is what I'm hearing, he said he heard it just before he walked out on Fox News. He has a lot of praise for the local police, the governor. Start off with knowing nothing, but it doesn't change the bottom line.
No.
Charlie Kirk was stolen from us. And his wife, his kids.
Well, and as I was processing all of this, and continue to, this isn't something that's just going to go away in a few days.
No.
Charlie Kirk was one of us, a Christian conservative man who stood up for his beliefs. That's what we do here every day. And so it hits really close to home. I am not a fascist. I am not a Nazi. I am not a bad person because I believe in traditional family values. I am not a bad person because I believe biological men should not play in women's sports. I was an athlete. That would enrage me if my place got taken, or my niece's place, or my daughter's place was taken by a biological man, because men are stronger than women, period. They're biologically different. I am not a bad person because I think that we should have law and order and security in this country, and that I should feel safe when I go outside. You can believe that every Christian conservative in this country, yesterday or the day before when this happened, they don't feel safe. They feel like they have to go arm up and protect themselves from crazy lunatics. And how does it start? It starts with a label. It starts with an idea. It starts with the inception of an idea that other people are bad. And this is what Charlie Kirk actually stood against. To go and talk to people, to say, hey, we can have common ground, and I'm willing to listen to you. Even though you hate me, I'm willing to have a discussion. And I know that many people don't feel safe. They feel less safe today than they did before, but they also feel inspired. And I feel that there's a revival in this country, that young people are going to stand up and seek out the Lord and want to be more like Charlie Kirk. And whatever the plan was for this person, the exact opposite is going to happen. These young people, I have read literally hundreds of posts about young people who start to speak up and stand up for their beliefs. They feel emboldened to do so. And we have to nurture those young people and allow them the space to do that. Because I believe, like many people have said, this has created millions of Charlie Kirks. And I just I mean, and there are a lot of people out there who aren't particularly religious and aren't particularly political and who were on the left, who are now no longer Democrats, who are now speaking up and saying, you are wrong. People are speaking up for the first time there. I think people began to believe that they weren't afraid to wear a MAGA hat out. They weren't afraid to say, I love my country or I love my God. And now I think it's even more so. I think it's even more so, Steve.
I think Charlie Kirk is bigger in death than he was in life. It was almost instantaneous for a lot of these people who didn't know who he was.
And shame. I mean, what level of
we won't talk about
inhumanity?
We're not talking about them today. They'll get theirs. We're going to save that till Monday. I had all these clips from MSNBC and other places. I won't give them the platform.
Like I said,
today.
it started with a label.
That's right.
It started with calling the president a fascist, calling the president Hitler,
you a fascist, and
calling
me a fascist.
That, and then
and Nazi.
that creates this figure
this vitriol.
Of this, that I am bad, that I am evil, that I am going to destroy. I
can assure you, folks, Ivy's not evil. I can vouch for that. Ivy.
And I think everyone needs to stand up and say, we are not these things. Get your face out there. We are not these things.
We are good.
We are good. And you want to destroy everything that's good. There are people in this country that want to destroy everything that's good. And lie.
Love you.
Love you.
It begins with labels, like Ivy said. So here's your last lesson of the day and the last lesson of the week from me. Godwin's Law. Ever heard of it? I hadn't. My daughter said, Godwin's Law. I said, what is that? So she sent me this. Write this down and remember this. Godwin's Law is an internet maxim formulated by Mike Godwin in 1990. Think about that for a moment. 1990, which posits that as an online debate progresses without a conclusion, the likelihood of participants comparing others to Adolf Hitler and Nazis increases. Godwin's observations stem from his experience on online bulletin boards in the 1980s, where he noted a frequent tendency among users to resort to these comparisons when disagreements escalated. He argued that such references often signify a breakdown in logical discourse. Of course it does. There's no logic to it. We're not Nazis, for God's sake. Indicating that the arguers could no longer support their positions constructively, so they just call somebody a Nazi or Hitler. Sound familiar? How many times have you heard Donald Trump referred to as a Nazi or Hitler, or people who support Trump as Nazis? When the arguers can no longer support their positions constructively, Godwin expressed concern that trivializing these comparisons undermine the historical significance of the Holocaust and the actual severity of Nazi action. Despite his hopes that Godwin's Law would prompt more thoughtful online discussion, he acknowledged that the law has not significantly curbed instances of such comparisons. In fact, I would say it's gotten far worse. Godwin's Law, when you're failing at an argument, you resort to calling people Nazis or Hitler. Godwin's Law. There's your education for today. It begins with a label, like Ivy said. Fight the good fight. God bless America. God bless Charlie Kirk and his widow and his family. And remember, my friends, as we go forward, only you can save America. Breaking news before we break off the stream here. Charlie Kirk's killer has just been identified as Tyler Robinson, 22. Donald Trump had said live here moments ago that with a high degree of certainty they had the killer. Sources telling CNN and others that he had confessed to his father, who then contacted authorities and secured his son before he could be taken into custody. The New York Times reporting that the suspect was taken into custody 11 o'clock last night in Utah, which would have been about 1 a.m. Eastern time this morning. Not a lot known about this Tyler Robinson yet. Let's get on those social media pages, guys. Let's do our work. Let's figure it out. Tyler Robinson, 22. Stick with me here for a second. We'll see what I can find out while we've got you still alive. I'm going to guess if they've had him since 11 o'clock last night, he's been cleaned. What do you got? Right here. I've got it in, it's a Daily Mail article. You can speak up. It's okay. We're live. If you got something, let me know. Tyler Robinson. Charlie Kirk identified Tyler Robinson. That is the Hindustan Times. Trying to figure out who we've got here. Let's see. Okay, I've got a 22. That's all I've got so far. And it comes from the Daily Mail. And it comes from the Hindustan Times, which is a publication out of India, believe it or not. I don't have a picture, except for the pictures, of course, of the suspect originally. Robinson's arrest comes after a manhunt for the suspect stretched for over a day and a half. $100,000 reward for information when I guess his dad doesn't take that money. What do you got? Anything? All right, well, that's what we've got for you, folks. It appears that the hateful killer of Charlie Kirk is a 22-year-old guy arrested in Utah. And so when they said he was college age, they were right on their description. So that's what we have for you, folks. Killer identified. We're awaiting an update from the FBI. There's going to be Ivy, did you say there's going to be a press conference here shortly? There will be a press conference coming very shortly. We'll keep that in mind. Yeah. Keep the faith here, folks. That's what I say to you. Keep the faith. And be like Charlie. Hold up this country, hold up your family, and hold up God. And I mean that from the bottom of my being, okay? God bless you, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, Anthony.